This is Top Accolade Global News Updates. I am Soibifa Jakarich. Samsung Electronics chairman J.Y. Lee was found not guilty of accounting fraud and stock manipulation by a Seoul court on Monday in a case about a 2015 merger that prosecutors said was designed to cement his control of the tech giant. The ruling, which was a surprise to at least some analysts who had expected a suspended sentence, could help give Lee a freer rein in steering the country's biggest conglomerate. Lee, 55, and other former executives were accused of engineering a merger between two Samsung affiliates, Samsung C&T and Seoul Industries, in a way that rode roughshod over the interests of minority shareholders. Prior to the merger, the Lee family and related entities control Seoul, but not Samsung C&T, which was a major shareholder in Samsung Electronics, the crown jewel in the Samsung conglomerate. Prosecutors had sought a 5-year jail term. Lee denied wrongdoing, arguing that he and other executives acted on the belief the merger would benefit shareholders. The panel of 3 judges at the Seoul Central District Court said that the merger decision was reached by the boards of the two companies after their consideration and review. All 14 defendants were acquitted. The sentence prevents a return to jail for Lee, who was convicted in 2017 of bribing a friend of former President Park Geun-hye. He served 18 months of a 30-month sentence and was pardoned in 2022 by current President Yoon Suk-yeol, with the government saying he was needed to help overcome a national economic crisis. If prosecutors decide not to appeal the ruling, it would clear up Lee's legal troubles, which dates back to 2016. Lee's lawyer, Kim Yong-ching, thanks the court for a wise decision. Park Yong-ching, a lawmaker for the main opposition Democratic Party, decried the ruling in a Facebook post, saying Lee's succession was unfair and that heads of conglomerates should not be protected in the interest of a fair market economy. As of end September, the Lee family and related entities owned 20.7% of Samsung Electronics shares in Samsung C&T, the group's de facto holding company, in which Lee is the largest shareholder, rose as much as 5% ahead of the ruling before trimming gains to be largely flat. The United States intends to launch further strikes at Iran-backed group in the Middle East, the White House National Security Advisor said on Sunday, after hitting Tehran-aligned factions in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen over the last 2 days. The United States and Britain unleashed attacks against 36 Houthi targets in Yemen, a day after the U.S. military hit Tehran-backed group in Iraq and Syria in retaliation for a deadly attack on U.S. troops in Jordan. The strikes are the latest blows in a conflict that has spread into the Middle East since October 7th, when the Iran-backed Palestinian militant group Hamas stormed Israel from the Gaza Strip, igniting war. The Biden administration's diplomatic efforts to stem the fallout from the war also continued, with top diplomat Antony Blinken departing for the region on Sunday afternoon. Tehran-backed groups declaring support for the Palestinians have entered the fray across the region. Hezbollah has fired at Israeli targets at the Lebanese-Israeli border. Iraqi militaries have fired on U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria, and the Houthis have fired on shipping in the Red Sea and at Israel itself. Iran has so far avoided any direct role in the conflict, even as it backs those groups. The Pentagon has said it does not want war with Iran and does not believe Tehran wants war either. Sullivan declined to be drawn on whether the United States might attack sites inside Iran, something the U.S. military has been very careful to avoid. Saturday's strikes in Yemen hit buried weapons storage facilities, missile systems, launcher, and other capabilities the Houthi have used to attack Red Sea shipping, the Pentagon said, adding it targeted 13 locations. Secretary of State Blinken will visit Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, and Israel in the coming days of his 5th trip to the region since October, which will focus on advancing talks on the return of hostages taken from Israel by Hamas in exchange for a temporary ceasefire in Gaza. He will also make a push on a U.S. brokered mega deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel to normalize ties, which hinges on bringing an end to all the Gaza conflict and steps towards a further Palestinian state. At least 10 police personnel were killed and 6 others injured in a pre-dawn attack on Monday by militants on a police station in northwest Pakistan, police said, as violence escalated ahead of general elections this week. At around 3 a.m. local time, that is 22:00 GMT Sunday, militants attacked the police station with sniper fire and then entered the building, said police officer in Pakistan's Draban region in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. It was not immediately clear who was behind the attack and whether it was related to the election. A National Assembly candidate was shot dead on Wednesday. Elsewhere in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, on the same day, another political leader was shot dead in his party's election office in Balochistan province. On Tuesday, a bomb attack following an election rally killed 4 people in Balochistan. Islamic State claimed responsibility. Draban lies in an area considered a stronghold of the Jamaat Ulema al-Islam party. The conservative religious party's leader, Maulana Fazal ur-Rahman, traveled last month to Afghanistan to meet the Taliban's supreme spiritual leader, local media reported, one of his few known meetings with foreign dignitaries. The party has also called for a delay in Pakistan's poll due to security concerns. Pakistan has seen a resurgence of attacks by Islamist militants, especially those targeting security personnel, since 2022, when a ceasefire between the Pakistani Taliban and the government broke down. Our Senate on Sunday unveiled a $118 billion bipartisan border security bill that would also provide aid to Ukraine and Israel, but it promptly slammed into opposition from the House of Representatives. However, House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson declared it dead on arrival. If it reaches his chamber, the Democratic and Republican Senate backers of the wide-ranging U.S. border security and foreign military aid bill pledged to push ahead despite opposition by Donald Trump as well. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said he would take steps to hold an initial vote on the bill on Wednesday. If the bill were to become law, it would mark the most significant changes in U.S. immigration and border security in decades. Some progressive Democrats are angry the measure does nothing to provide a pathway to citizenship for the 11 million undocumented people who have lived in the U.S. for many years, including dreamer immigrants who were brought in as children. Independent Senator Kristen Sinema told reporters the legislation would secure the U.S. southern border, including by requiring the Department of Homeland Security to temporarily shut down the frontier to most migrants if there are an average of more than 5,000 crossing attempts per day over 7 days. Republican Senator James Lankford, one of the negotiators on the bill, said that the border likely would remain closed for at least 3 weeks as the numbers of arriving immigrants drop significantly. In addition to $20.23 billion for border security, the bill included $60.6 billion to support Ukraine in its war with Russia, $14.1 billion in security assistance for Israel, $2.44 billion to U.S. Central Command and the conflict in the Red Sea, and $4.83 billion to support U.S. partners in the Indo-Pacific facing aggression from China. According to figures from Senator Patty Murray, who chairs the Senate Appropriation Committee, an additional $10 billion would provide humanitarian assistance for civilians in conflict zones including Ukraine, Gaza, and the West Bank. Although the bills include a provision borrowing its funds from UNRWA, the Biden administration and other nations have paused funding to the agency over allegations that some of its staff were involved in Haman's October 7 attacks in southern Israel. Finnish telecom equipment maker Nokia said on Monday it had signed a multi-year 5G patent license agreement with Chinese smartphone vendor Vivo and will begin recognizing net sales from the deal in the first quarter of 2024. The agreement resolves all pending patent litigation between the parties in all jurisdictions. The terms of the agreement remains confidential as agreed between the parties, Nokia said in a statement. It was Nokia's sixth major smartphone licensing agreement in the past 13 months and follows deal with Apple, Samsung, Oppo, Honor, and Huawei. Nokia has now almost completed its smartphone license renewal cycle, the company said. The group last month said it expected Nokia Technologies, its intellectual property licensing business, to generate at least 1.4 billion euros, that is $1.51 billion of operating profits in 2024. That is the size of top accolade global news updates. You can follow us on our social media platforms as displayed on your screen. Happy Monday.